Okay, we are live. Today I'm going to be having Christian from conservative Georgia on the show, and he should be arriving any moment now.
Hey,
There's Christian.
hey,
Okay.
okay, hold on. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's all good. I just don't want because I was trying to do it from where I was previously in the.
You sound like Lil Wayne or Lil Wayne. Your mic's messing up. You sound like Lil Wayne.
Is it? I don't know if I have a mic. I don't have any headphones with me or anything, so.
Oh, it's fine. I can edit it and fix it. It's
Okay.
fine.
And I like that flag behind you, the yellow one.
Okay. My first question for you is your opinion on. I had an interview earlier today, and I spent a lot of time discussing the alt right and all that. I want to get your opinion on propertarianism.
Propertarianism. I've heard the term. I would assume it has something to do with private property. I have no idea what it is. On, I guess, the ideologies, to me, they're like Tumblr genders. Like you have the, multi-gender, the xenogender, quadrigender, I don't know. And so I think when it comes into terms to ideologies, I would rather relatively relate it to an ideology that pretty much everyone knows. Like everyone knows what an ANCAP is. How close is it to that? Because the problem with ideologies like that is they never really have a set viewpoint on things like economics. And so you could find someone who, like Stoicism, for example. It's not a political thing. It's just something random I'm throwing out here. You can have a leftist.
It's more of a philosophy, if you will.
It's more of a philosophy. Okay, I'll look it up real quick and I'll see exactly what I think about it. Is my video still working? Or
yeah, it's working.
Okay, as long as it's working. Let's see, Proprietarian Institute. Ethical discipline within the libertarian philosophy that advocates contractual relationships as replacement for the. This is anarcho-mutualism. Essentially. Okay. This is kind of like the wheat and the mutualist kind of thing going back
Didn't
here.
he leave?
He left in something. He became all sorts of things. Like he would go from communist to anarcho-communist to anarcho-capitalist.
All he did was like post spam. He didn't really do anything political.
Yeah, he never did. It was really poorly drawn Poland ball comics, and that was it. But me personally, if we're going to go with a form of anarchism, I would totally go with anarcho-capitalism, just for the fact that it's capitalist, and obviously the free market is great at doing everything. Contractual relationships are okay, but it's just too darn Marxist for me. I think that in any sort of, whether it be your business, whether it be a society, a state, hierarchy is always needed. There's always going to be people who have to be above one another. Without it, there simply just isn't order.
Well, yeah, because if everybody is equal, I mean, I agree, like, white people aren't better than black people aren't better than white people. But if everybody is equal as far as income and all of that, many people will quit working. If everybody has the same amount of money, there is no supply and demand. It's all offset. It's just a frenzy.
And especially with and I think about it, things like, I think the best example is really welfare. When you incentivize not having when you incentivize laziness, and it's not on purpose, it's not like these people are sitting around, but when you incentivize laziness and you incentivize economic disparity, people are going to want to be economically disparaged. People aren't going to want to work. But yeah, and it's the same thing with mutual contracts. It's okay in the sense of, I mean, I guess it's much more peaceful, and some anarcho-communists will argue that anarcho-capitalism isn't anarchism because of the fact that it has hierarchy. But in my opinion, that's kind of why I left libertarianism, because there's always going to need to be hierarchy. Naturally, some people are always going to be better than others, and it's really more of an individual thing. Some people, as they exist, are going to be better than other people. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, I also left libertarianism a while back. I am still in the purple quarter, I guess, on the compass, but I identify more with classical liberalism, but not even necessarily that anymore. I don't stay too close to one ideology because some things you will just see from every group will throw out so much bull on to try to destroy the other one. And back to the working and the workers being desperate, it goes back to when you're a small child and you don't do your chores or something like that. You get grounded. You become desperate. So you want to do your chores next time so that way you don't get grounded and you might get paid.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if you get paid for not doing anything, you become lazy and you're not productive and nothing gets done. So
yeah, that's why, again, the free market just simply is so much better because you have people saying that there are some people who say that obviously like communists, they say, oh well, we can just get rid of money, but the problem is that not even the sense of resources just simply won't be able to be redistributed. And the most thing is that I think it kills morale. It kills soul, and it really just kills how they see themselves as individuals. Obviously, if I'm systematically oppressed by a government and I'm never earning anything more than my neighbor, what incentive do I have to either think that I'm a good person, to hold any sort of individual beliefs? It's just a destroyer of the individual. And any sort of communism, whether it be anarcho-communism or Leninism, all it is just a tool for state control, in my opinion.
What I'd say about what was it? I think it was anarcho-communism. Back what you were on a few minutes ago. The thing with anarcho-communism, many people have said this as a joke, but it's true. Anarcho-communism can't be anarchy. It's not even communism. It's just a form of collectivism. The thing is, you want anarchy, but you can't have private property. Everything's in communities, but it's not anarchy if people can't go do exactly what they want. So your whole ideology is really just collectivism.
And here's another thing. It's just me, and it's not really like a major groundbreaking argument. It's more of something that just shows its stupidity and this goes for all anarcho capitalism or communism or whatever. Firstly, a lot of the anarcho-communists and anarcho-capitalists, they leave the two-party system in exchange for a two-part anarchist system, and that doesn't really make any sense. They pride themselves on being not Republican or not democratic, but at the same time, they're over here fighting between capitalists and communists. Secondly, the idea that I was talking to some anarcho-communists and they said, so what do you want to do, physically remove capitalists? And they say, no, that's not anarchist. How can you do that without a state? So my thinking is, well, if obviously you can't remove the capitalists, then what is it? Because obviously it's not anarcho-communism at that point. It's just that you're a bunch of group of communists. Same thing with anarcho-capitalism. The capitalists, they don't want to remove the communists, so they just become one big group of capitalists, and it makes no sense, in my opinion.
I agree. One thing I'd also like to another subject I'd like us to get on is who's your favorite philosopher? This is a question that I like to ask people I interview. It tells me a lot about their ideology, and it's pretty interesting because they typically have good arguments behind it.
I guess in terms of if we're talking about when I think of philosophy, I always think of things like the Roman and the Greek philosophy. I would say the father of modern philosophy and Western philosophy is Socrates himself. I'm a fan of things like Stoicism and Marcus Aurelius on the Roman side, and definitely think people like Cicero and things like that. But I guess the founder of Western philosophy as it exists today, and probably my favorite because of how he really established how we think, would probably have to be Socrates. But yeah.
I'm a Roman history nerd on a lot of things.
Me too.
Also.
Yeah.
And correct. Didn't Marcus Aurelius have what was it? I know he was actually one of the good emperors and all that, I believe. But he had tons of good points. But wasn't he? Didn't he like take some property from certain people who were Christian and religious and not secular? I guess.
I don't know that specifically. I mean, most Roman emperors at that time did. If they weren't Christian, they would torture Christians and things like that. But I'm not going to dismiss that as if it's nothing. But that's kind of how they did things back then. They were very brutal people. But yeah.
Now here's a silly question. I want you to answer it unironically. If you had the chance, go back in time to Rome, somewhere between 300 BC and 180 in Obi-Wan Kenobi clothes.
Mm-hmm.
You would?
Yeah, I would totally, completely. Yeah. That would be great.
It would.
Yeah, and in my opinion, I think the Roman Republic was better than the Roman Empire. But
it was. It might not have been as successful and necessarily on certain things. But the thing is, the Roman Empire was very successful in its early days and all the way up until, I think the height of the Roman Empire was like maybe 117 AD or something. Yeah, something around then. But the thing is, it wasn't at its height for much longer. When you have all of that power to the emperor and all this imperialism, you have a lot to handle. It's like if you give a 5-year-old 25 billion things to do over a certain time period, he's going to freak out. But when you give one emperor who's typically crazy, that's why they only had like 5 good ones, things are going to go bad.
Yeah. And that's one of my problems with monarchy. And Romans had the problem with monarchy too. Back in the early days, there was a Roman monarchy before they had a republic.
Yeah, before the republic.
Yeah, and their whole thing was we're not ever going to give ourselves up to any monarchs. But essentially, that's what the emperors were, just glorified monarchs. And no, I will say that in terms of expansion, they did amazingly well in terms of administration, and things like how they would set up different governing districts and how they would have a governor for each district. That was really something that that your empire is successful is the regional control of the empire. But yeah, and that's why like the Mongols failed. But yeah.
Yeah. What is your economic school of thought?
I'm really not a fan of any economic school. How they exist. I guess to sum it up, I believe in a free market, but I also believe that government control is necessary. Governments have to do some sort of the markets, and governments they really have an obligation to protect the market of their own country.
Well, of course, we don't need people with recreational nukes walking around the street.
Yeah. But in terms of Ford leaving to Mexico, like I think that, like for example, President Trump's doing an amazing job in trying to keep companies back in here and instituting tariffs that they want to leave, and I agree with that completely. A government has an obligation to serve its people, and corporations are people, so corporations have every right to be protected by the government as people do. Protecting themselves from themselves.
Another question I have for you is, let me see if I have. Oh, one other thing. I believe you liked my comment or something, or said you agreed or something in a group chat when I said that Milton Friedman would be perfect if he didn't have such a strong monetary policy, and Hayek would be perfect if he wasn't okay with totalitarian regimes. Or was that another admin?
I like Hayek. I like Hayek. Obviously, he's not perfect, but I really do like him. And with Milton Friedman, oh crap! Hold on. What? Yeah. What? Okay. Okay. Bye. I'm in the middle of something. I'm not Skyping. Goodbye. Sorry about that. I hope you're able to edit that out or something.
What is your favorite country in? Well, here's a. Well, I know you're gonna say the Roman Republic or the Roman something, but outside of the Romans, who slash what was your favorite empire or nation throughout all of the world's history?
In all the world's history, that's a lot. Uh, Man, I don't know. I would really have to say if it's not Rome, yeah, because I would say Rome because really when I look at it, Rome had the best influence on Europe as a whole.
There was no competition, really. Rome was just great.
I would have to say the Frankian Kingdom was pretty great. The Frankian Kingdom, they defined Northern Europe as it exists. People like Charlemagne, Charles Martel, they defended Europe from Muslim invaders, and ultimately they spread Christianity around to Europe and Germany. And the reason why they are Christian is because of the fact that the Frankian Empire existed and kept their culture and history as a nation. Rome did an amazing job of determining the ideals that Europe would have, but the Frankian Kingdom really also helped the Germans and the Northern Europeans, and more specifically the religion, and especially kept out the Muslim invaders. But, yeah.
Who was your favorite president of the United States throughout American history? Don't say Trump. He's not president yet.
Oh, no. He's not president yet. Yeah, he's not president yet. Plus, I would have to wait 4 years to answer that one. I would have to say Calvin Coolidge. Calvin Coolidge was amazing in terms of how he handled the market.
Yeah, Coolidge was my favorite also. However, it's pretty hard to find a Calvin Coolidge bobblehead on the internet, so
yeah,
I had to settle for this.
Thomas Jefferson.
And on the day I got it, his little bun tail thing fell off. So that's nice.
At least it's the backside.
Yeah, you can't even tell. But honestly, who's gonna come in my room and start inspecting like bobblehead?
Your bobblehead, yeah.
I mean, literally, yeah. Also, as far I see that you have conservative Georgia in your name. You were a libertarian. I believe you were conservative before you became a libertarian.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's true.
When did you become a libertarian?
I became a libertarian. Now, it just so happens that I kind of joined and really started getting into politics because of around the 2016 election, but it has nothing to do with the 2016 election. It just so happened that that's when I really got into political thought. I got into it because there were a lot of people left over from the Ron Paul revolution back in 2012, and obviously it was fading out, and conservative groups like the alt-right were slowly taking over, but we weren't able to see that yet.
It was sad. It really was, because I know it's just an ideology, but I remember back in early 2015. You see, I started my first political account in 2013, so I was before Too Savage for Democrats, Dylan. I was before a lot of those people. I was really young. I had no clue what I was doing. Still am pretty young, But my political views then, I got involved. Well, I've always been interested in politics since I was a little kid and could read because of my family and all that. But around 2013, I got really interested because of do you remember when there was a huge border crisis and tons of illegal immigrants came in?
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, my family got real involved with it, and I overheard them. I said the same things they said. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but if you go on Twitter, there's no such thing as regular conservatives or libertarians or any of that.
Yeah, Twitter.
90% of Twitter. If you're political on Twitter, you're either a social justice warrior or you're a 40-year-old woman with children who post these. You know how you see the meme Trump and it's sad with the exclamation point? Well, that's the kind of stuff that they post unironically. Sad, apologize, that stuff. It's really cringy.
Yeah,
look at
yeah.
it. Yeah. But what I'd like to know.
It's cringy.
Yeah. Before you became a libertarian, who did you support for president when you were conservative the first time around?
In 2012, I got into politics in 2012, and that was because of the election. The election really started it off, but I really didn't know anything. I kind of like maintained in that natural kind of centrist right position that everyone kind of, everyone starts off as a centrist in somewhere. I started off in the center right. Originally, I supported Ron Paul, and it wasn't because I was necessarily libertarian. It was just because I liked kind of what he was saying, even though I had no idea what he was saying. And then once Mitt Romney got, and then I forgot about it because I had other things to do with my life. So I completely forgot about it. And then Mitt Romney came about, and we started discussing politics in school. I was in sixth grade, and it was really just kind of like an introduction to school. But I started realizing, why I supported, the Republican Party, why I supported the Democrats, and I was thinking, why do I support the Republicans? And so because of that, I kind of like asked around and things like that, and I didn't know about like Milton Friedman and the internet back then. Just look it up. But then I kind of discovered why I liked the Republicans. So naturally, I just kind of started liking Mitt Romney. And, then I completely forgot politics even existed until until I found this IG page and started all on this politics thing on Instagram. But yeah.
What was I going to say? Do you remember? I don't know if your page is this old, but like I remember I was like 9 years old when this was. No, I wasn't that young. I was like 11. I'm not gonna over exaggerate, but yeah. Do you remember Dylan from Too Savage for Democrats before he became Too Savage for Democrats?
Yeah, I remember him.
Reagan Conservative was his name.
Reagan Conservative. Didn't he co-admin that with somebody, and then he
this guy named Steven. I always DM'd him back after like they broke up and all that. Mm-hmm. I DM'd them about like what happened, and I never could get a straight answer. And there was like some picture, like one of them went to the hospital or something. I think something like dramatic happened, and they like got in a fight or something.
I always know that he was the one that posted the fist and the American flag, so it was kind of like this, and I thought it was funny. And so I would just copy it, ironically, but I don't know.
Now,
I don't remember them that much.
This is my last question regarding, like, the old political Instagram, good old days.
The good old days, yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember, they switched names multiple times. Now, this is really old. Sometimes it was Young Democrat, Young_Democrat, and sometimes it was like Young Mutualist or something like that. They had like something. Do you remember them? They were pretty big back in the day.
I remember the name. That's not Virginia for Bernie, is it? That's a completely different person, right?
I think it is, maybe. Virginia for Bernie today told there's a classical liberal page who knows this.
Oh, I saw that. Oh, God, that makes me mad.
Yeah, private property is racist.
What about all the... I just don't understand all the black Americans out there who own private property. I don't know.
Honestly, it's all garbage. I mean...
Yeah, it is. I don't take him seriously. I've never taken
Sometimes you get... Have you ever heard the joke? You've got to be highly educated to be that stupid. Yeah. That's how I felt when I saw that.
Yeah, completely, yeah.
Now, I also have a question. Who do you think, this is predictions and all that. I made multiple predictions on the 2016 election. Back in, I think it was July, I predicted that Trump would win the presidency, but shortly after I said that Clinton would. But I had all these predictions, and back in November, I thought that Payne would be her VP. I actually thought that Gingrich would be Trump's, though. Who do you think is going to be who all is going to run in 2020 for the Republicans and Democrats?
Oh, man. Okay. Real quick, before I answer that, I do want to say that it's kind of funny that regarding the prediction, I didn't predict Trump would win because obviously I was anti-Trump when he first ran. But, everyone who predicted that Trump would win, they got shunned out. And, it's just kind of funny how people would bully people out of thinking that someone would win. But to answer the question, 2020, I definitely think we're going to see Cory Booker run because he's a
I think a neoliberal is going to beat him though. A neoliberal always wins.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're definitely going to send a neoliberal out. Whoever that is, I don't know. Cory Booker's, he's going to be the charismatic Democrat that everyone likes. He's a moderate. He's going to get everyone's attention.
He's going to be like a less radical. Yeah. Well, actually, I couldn't compare him to Bernie on that, but he's going to be as far as being pain to the neoliberal, he's going to be Bernie to whoever. He's going to be the Bernie to whoever's Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, basically. And I think he's a bit too young to be taken seriously, in my opinion. I don't know.
Austin Peters. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Austin Peterson, meme king, posting pictures of him at Waffle House with the direct location. If I wanted to drive to Missouri, I could go up to him, and he'd probably just show me some memes or something.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Cory Booker is going to be a bit too young to get serious support, like especially with the older Democrats out there. But it's going to be good because obviously
the older ones are going to support the neoliberal anyway.
Yeah. I don't. In terms of neoliberal, I don't know who they're going to throw out. Maybe Elizabeth Warren. I don't know. I don't think
that's a possibility.
It's a possibility, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to be in 2020. I think maybe in like 2030s, maybe we're going to see Michelle Obama run. Maybe 2044. I mean, not 2044. 2024.
24. Did you say 2044?
Yeah. No, I meant to say 2020. I was going to say,
that's like if me and you were going to run for office.
Yeah. No. Michelle Obama would probably be dead by then. I don't know.
You're threatening the first lady.
No. I'm saying I'm saying she's like 40-something, 50-something. 40 years from now. Okay.
I know. My family knows some dude who knows another dude who got drunk and said something bad about Obama, and the Secret Service showed up at his door.
Oh no!
Yeah.
On the Republican side, I don't know if Rand Paul is going to run.
Ron Paul's going to probably be dead.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, I don't like to face it.
I know. Yeah. I don't like the thought of it either.
Yeah. Rand Paul, he might run depending on Trump's success.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think Ben Carson is going to run. I'm thinking of who's ran. Marco Rubio is definitely going to run. We're not going to see. We're not going to see any of him until he's retired. I mean, any less of him until he's retired. I wonder if Rick Santorum's going to win. He runs in every election. Bobby Jindal and Rick Santorum run in every single election, so they'll probably run again.
Marco Rubio and Hillary Clinton would simply be people of very similar ideologies, just of different genders and different ethnic background, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think Hillary Clinton's going to ever run again. They're not going to be able to throw out anyone involved in their.
Ooh, what about her? The rumored New York City mayor run.
Oh, if she does, she's going to win.
She's going to take it. I mean, yeah. I don't honestly. I know I'm probably going to get slammed for this by some of my 3 viewers that I have on my new channel. So yeah, but honestly, I'd rather see Hillary Clinton mayor of New York than Bill de Blasio. That's just me. Because at least she has experience.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton, I guess, would be a better administrator, and at least she's somewhat conservative.
Yeah.
Relatively speaking, and that's really, really relatively speaking. Also, if she trashes New York City, because that's New York City. I'm in Georgia. I don't care. Whatever happens to
I'm in Mississippi. It's going to be 50 years before there's another Democratic governor. So,
yeah. Mississippi's great in terms of political.
Mississippi's also pretty boring.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's not much to do. I'm pretty sure I'm the only commentator. Well, not commentator. I think I'm the only person in Mississippi doing a YouTube or something like this that doesn't involve me screaming about Minecraft and Democrats killing everyone.
Yeah.
Also, I just wanted to tell you I have this.
A Delta plane. Yeah, kid. Delta's great. And especially after what the Adam Sela did, I'm never going to never fly Delta ever again. I mean, I'm never going to fly anything that's not Delta. I'm going to always stick with Delta because that I know that it'll be the safest airline because all the liberals and Muslims are boycotting it. So I will have to go on planes fear-free because I'll know that there's no Muslims or liberals there. Yeah.
Another thing is the Adam Sala, whatever his name is. Do you know Rice Gum? He's a YouTuber, does all that stuff, I think. Well, I believe in one of his videos. Okay, if I'm wrong about this, I'm going to be called a racist. But one of the people in his videos looked just like the Adam Sala guy, and Rice Gum said something like, "You're a prankster," and he said, "Man, don't call me that," and got all upset. But if it's not Adam Sala, I can expect somehow some liberals to find my 3-viewer-a-day YouTube channel and raid me and say, not all Muslims look the same. No, they don't all look the same. It's just this dude really looked like the Adam Sala dude.
Hey, it's okay. I just said that Muslims were terrorists, so. I but I really don't care if I get called racist for things. Like, I posted something. I really don't care if I'm racist anymore. I wear it as a badge of honor because I get called it so much anyway that it loses its meaning, and I get called racist for things that simply aren't racist. But yeah.
Ben Shapiro, I believe, did a whole thing on their criticizing their whole everything systematic racism, all that.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, when you say everything is racist and you're assuming white people or all of them are racist, you're collectivizing a group, a racial group, and stereotyping them to do one thing, and that they're all this. Well, that's racist, actually. That is racist if you're saying all white people are that way, because you're collectivizing however many billion white people there are or something. I don't know, million, billion. I'm not sure. I know that Asia and Africa have a lot of population.
Yeah, exactly. And they were like, why is there an alt-right surge? Why is there a white lash, as they call it? Well, when you have a bunch of radicals that are a part of your ideology beating to near death, and that's why you have such angry white people, because we're obviously quite upset. And, they have a lot of people that say, oh, well, this is just what you did in 1864 slavery. But my sole response is, two wrongs don't make a right. This is something you learned in preschool. Just because there were some just because in a time when morals were different, people did bad things, that does not justify violence now. In no way.
This is somewhat a personal question. Well, it's not personal, because there's millions of people who live in Georgia. But since your name is Conservative Georgia, and everyone clearly knows you're from Georgia, except for some of those people with no profile picture, and their name is JWA or Muhammad 9777 something, and they'll ask you, hey, what state are you from? Are you a liberal? And sometimes I wonder, I think they're being ironic, but, look at how the IQs are declining these days. You just don't know.
Hey, oh, she had to go to the store real quick. She'll be back. I'm sorry for all these interruptions. This is what it's like having brothers.
It's fine. But also, I have a question for some of my viewers, because I bet you're the only person from Georgia ever to come on here. Well, of course, on this new channel. However, I would like to know a little bit about Georgia and why you are so proud of Georgia.
Why am I so proud of Georgia? I guess it all starts back in the Civil War. Actually, no, I can go back all the way to the Revolutionary War. We were a fairly moderate state. I support the American. I don't know anyone in America who supports the British. But we were fairly neutral. We were kind of one of those traditional states. We didn't want to get involved in the conflict. We wanted to just keep our back. Obviously, we opposed what the British did, but ultimately we realized that we have to, we can't just go all crazy and radical. And so I do appreciate the fact that in the Revolutionary War we were quite moderate. Or we were the economic powerhouse of this CSA. Like, there's a reason Sherman came to Atlanta specifically. It's because when you came to Atlanta, you completely shut down the railways, economic capital of Virginia, not Virginia, of the CSA, and that's why they put the capital in Virginia instead of Georgia, in my opinion, because if they did that, they would have become an immediate target and just completely destroyed. And through the years, we've been, I guess, a solid conservative state, and we've always been a extremely economically prosperous. Like, we're the number one state for business in the entire U.S.
I saw that back and when we were in mock government. I remember you posted something when you were like paging or something, and you had a picture of the Capitol and you were spamming because that's what you always did, and we actually enjoyed it because your spamming was filled with not necessarily intelligent. It was not that, but it was entertaining content to say the least.
Oh crap! Whoops, my video went off. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and just always been an amazing state economic, and I really do support the South as a collective in terms of our traditions and our religion and our culture. We've been a great unified set of states.
It depends on where in the South you're talking about, because I would not say Confederate pride. If the Civil War were today. If I had a choice, though, I would stay a Southerner, but I would not fight. I'd just, mind my own business and all that. However,
I don't support the Confederacy.
When you look at certain states, I think it was my home state. I'm not very proud of my home state. I really am not. I don't take pride in Mississippi. I don't want to go to college in Mississippi. I don't want to live in Mississippi when I'm older. Mississippi, I believe, was known for like beating the slaves to death and all that. And Louisiana and multiple states, there's just not much to take pride in, because during the Civil War, they weren't fighting or like trying to mind their own business. In Mississippi, in certain regions of the South, they literally wanted to kill some of the wealthier people. They wanted you dead because they thought that you would, because they wanted to keep their slaves, basically.
Yeah. No, I wasn't saying I support the Confederacy. The Confederacy as it stood, I don't support it. But I support like the idea that we're South, we have our own culture and things like that, and we have a very distinct differences between and South, even to this day still, and it's just part of that. And I always think that people should take pride in their states, and if you don't, that's fine. Obviously, it's good to see the flaws in your own state, but if you do think your state is worthy of pride, take pride in it. And I think that we've had a great history as a state.
On a side note, you don't have much of a Southern accent, and one reason might be it might not be natural for you. That just might not be how you talk. But another thing is, unlike quizzes for your dialects and all that, if you get like Midwest or something like that, and sometimes you'll get neutral. Well, neutral will say you might be from Pennsylvania, Ohio, or this or that, but you could be a Southerner who's from big cities such as Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, or this. You are from the Atlanta region, right?
Yeah.
Which region of Georgia would you say is, in your subjective opinion, the best?
Okay. In my subjective opinion. Real quick about the language thing. The language map actually showed that I was from Columbus, Georgia, which if Georgia was my hand, like this is Savannah, Atlanta's right here, I got right here, which is like south and central. Yeah, south and central west Georgia.
You're drawing an Illuminati triangle. We don't. It's a good thing that a lot of the libertarian communities gone, because if it wasn't, you'd be labeled a crisis actor now. Because that's enough proof. That's an Illuminati.
So my accent apparently is central west Georgia, which that's interesting. Also, I have braces, so that might affect how I talk. I don't know. But my favorite region of the South would have to be the central Georgia. Like, I'm a fan, and I think really it just has to do with like more of like because that's where all my family's from, and also like I just kind of like the plains part of Georgia, like the flat part. I find it like aesthetically pleasing, I guess. But definitely like central Georgia.
Every time I hear that word, like I use that word often. But the thing is, now with all of the fascists and all that, there are pages dedicated to like aesthetical pictures of like fascist Italy and fascist Germany and all these fascist things. So whenever I say that, I just think of like fascism. So I try to avoid saying it because I get weird.
I didn't mean it like that in any sense.
I know, because
Yeah.
However, one thing I've noticed is on Instagram, if you're a conservative page or even borderline conservative, your followers aren't really conservative. They're all alternative right and they're fascist. Because do you know right wing movement? She was a right wing girl and all that. Well, all of her followers want to like kill all the Muslims or they want to do this, and they're fascist. 1776 regime actually is, I think, like alt right fascist.
Ridiculously neo-Nazi.
Yeah, but I've noticed there's very few conservatives left. What you have on Instagram is you have your alt-right, your market fascist and feudalist, which are with the alt-right basically. Yeah. You have your center-right national socialist. And then you have your neocons. They're back in the early days. The neocons was just your typical conservative that didn't know much. Well, now a neocon has a detailed graph plan and all kinds of stuff. It's a totally different term that now they use it for. Yeah. But outside those groups, what you have is then you have basically ANCAPs. There's very few true conservatives and moderate libertarians, conservatarians. It's ANCAPs who post stuff about Call of Duty, basically, and fascists who post stuff about, like, the Aryan race.
Yeah, I would say that that's really just because we have a right-wing president. Something that you're always going to see in political groups is that when they're in power, they go radical. And when they're not in the power, they always they always shy away and they want to limit government. And personally, I kind of agree that this is kind of a good system in terms of parties balance. But once America is on a pendulum. Like, there's a reason why we've gone from just recently Reagan to Clinton to Bush to Obama. It's because we're always on a pendulum, just swinging back and forth. This is just part of pendulum. We're gonna go like this. So once we have a Democratic president again, once Trump or whoever is out, it'll just go like this, and we'll see a whole new rise of conservatives and paleocons and the old right again.
What's your opinion on Cicero? Or is that how I pronounce it? I'm in a Latin rotation. I'm taking Spanish next year. That's what I've always done. But I really like Latin and the history, so I'm taking a rotation. So
I say Cicero because that's sort of how the Romans said it, but I say it with an American accent, so it doesn't sound anything like it. I say Cicero just because that's kind of how the Romans said it. But Cicero is right too. I love Cicero. He was an amazing orator. He really was a great orator and a senator. And he was definitely one of the people, like, when you think of conservative Republicans, not Republicans, not in the sense of like the party, because that's a whole different Republic. I'm talking about like in a sense of someone who wanted to establish the Republic and someone who wanted to keep like the Senate and the Roman
Republics always succeed. Democracies typically fail. I remember back when I was in either 6th or 7th grade, I was talking with one of the teachers always like to have discussions with me because I'd like bring up stuff, but I wouldn't be like mean. I'd give them true information and be civilized with it. But the thing is, what was I saying? I'm ADD. What was I?
Me too. Something about the republics and like why republics.
Oh yeah. Well, I remember talking about how republics typically do well and democracies typically fail. Papa, I'm not his biggest fan, but I don't exactly hate him. What I dislike about him is the physical removal, the whole authoritarian thing. The thing with the ANCAPs went from the very bottom right corner to the very top right corner when they turned like Hoppian. But let me see. I've got my book right under here. I just need to find it because they all look the same. Okay, please. Democracy. Okay, I don't feel like looking for this for 10 minutes, so I'm just going to say it's called like Democracy, the God That Failed. And he gives some good, valid points about how democracy, failed, basically.
Hey, and I got to go.
thanks
That's
for
okay.
thanks for coming.
I'm sorry about
Bye.
that. Oh yeah, really, yeah.